Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So firstly, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my Patreons, Ben. Thanks for your support. In today's video, you can see that I finally farmed the last tome needed to upgrade Radias to 5-star. And keep in mind that you do need, obviously, the amount of chants as well as murmurs and prayers. Now, if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Also, I do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. And there we have it. Nice.
Stop flexing, Dad.
Sometimes you just gotta flex. She is awesome. Anyways, now we're going to do a 5-star review of Radias and her moves, as well as some gameplay and some boss fights. Now, the most important question of all is
she hot or not?
I will say, I do find some of the top DPS / characters in the game are fire, and of course, Radias, being that she does establish slash zone and is a fire / character, oh, she's definitely hot. She also carries the Flame Blade too, so Gilna's personal weapon, which was, I guess, modified in her timeline. Anyways, you can see that she's pretty good, although her speed is a little bit low, and her VC is great. So obviously establishes slash zone, slash resistance minus 25% for 1 turn, and rage on her as well. So she kind of acts both as a DPS and a tank. You can see the moves I can go with. However, there's a lot of moves in her kit you can choose as well. Also, she does take hits, and when she does take hits, she gets an extra last stand orb. She starts with 0, and the more you have, the more damage she can do. So one of the moves that we usually use is Absorb Blood. So not only preemptive apply pain, it heals her, and in slash zone essentially heals her almost 100%. So I've never found her not to be at full HP after using this move. So if you don't have a character that applies pain on your slash team, you can definitely use this because a lot of characters do enhance damage when inflicted by pain. For example, Deidre, Radius herself, and so on and so forth. Now, not only that, but she has essentially Aurora Force, but in an advanced version. She's got a 3-turn elemental barrier and applies rage to all enemies. So again, she can take lots of hits, shield herself and her party, and then obviously accumulate those last stand orbs. If you want to play around, you can also use Berserker Rush, which does damage to herself, which, by the way, any damage applied to herself does get a last stand orb, even though an enemy didn't hit her. And Fire Slash times 4. So perfect for powering up bars. But the problem is, if you're using her in the slash zone, having 4 hits won't gain anything in terms of, powering the bar, being that in any zone, it kind of is increased by a set amount. However, during AF, if you really want to use it, I guess it can increase the percentage. I personally wouldn't do that though. Sword of Hope is another great move, and it's one of her 2 setup specialized moves. So damages herself 10% and Fire Slash AoE XL. Not only that, int and power down by 25%. I will say I'm not sure if that's guaranteed, so I haven't really played around with that. Let me know in the comments below if you do know if it's guaranteed or if it's just situational. But if it was anything like Yuna's where it applies guaranteed, she would be near unstoppable. And finally, Crimson Blast. And this is the one that I use on the far right to spam for AF. So obviously does a single target DPS slash fire. And if they're inflicted with pain, I believe the damage doubles. And on top of that, if she consumes 1 last stand orb, it'll double again. So I think that's either 4 or 5 times damage. So you can really stack up the damage with her. And hopefully I'll show you, the damage and the difference between that later on in this video. I will say that, like I said, if you are using her in the slash zone to establish slash zone, you not only have to, you don't have to use a fire DPS. You can actually use different slash elements as well. So you can see her 2 5-star moves, and I'll show you the rest of the board. Like I was saying, you can use her in any team that is slash. So moving forward, there's a lot of new powerful characters and in Japan being released, and so she can easily be used to apply slash zone and help power those damages. Also, don't forget, she can be used to power non-elemental slash damage as well. And so those aren't as beneficial in terms of, using them, for example, in an elemental zone. So this is why slash zone is very unique and beneficial, and as opposed to not just having all regular 4 elemental zones. So let's take her out for a spin. So you can see her AoE does a fair bit of damage, and you did see her get 1 orb for taking damage, and there you go. So once you hit her with the 2 orbs, it did about 37,000 damage. So we'll do that again, but we'll have a few more orbs on and see if it does a little bit more. Keep in mind that even if she's running solo, she can essentially heal herself 100% at any time, and it's preemptive, so you don't really have to worry about the mobs hitting you first. Against stronger bosses, again, she can heal first before that. Okay, so she's got 2 orbs now. She's going to self-heal right here and then apply pain. Don't forget that increases the damage of her special move. So let's show you what it's like when it hits. And boom, 74,000 damage. So a little bit more than the previous example. But what we really want to demonstrate is how she works against some bosses. Now this isn't a tough boss. Serene obviously is one of the earlier bosses, so most of us have probably taken her on, and obviously she does have a manifest weapon battle as well, so very, very useful that way. But she's great to test out against because she is weak to fire as well as to wind, and since we're going to use a fire DPS slash team, we can see what kind of damage we can generate on a turn 2 AF. So what we're going to do is really try not to do tons of damage because we don't want to bring her down to her 30% HP stopper. We actually want to see how much damage we can hit in one go. And the reason for that is if we bring her below 30%, the next hits on our combos will essentially kill her and the statuses don't remain. So we want to see how much damage we can accumulate while all the statuses we can apply are there. So you can see Howling Surge minus 50%, physical debuff. We even used Xion's setup move, which powers him up as well as apply physical debuff as well. And we have the X burning and the dance. And you can see with the pain applied, Crimson Dance is dealing about 800k, and with support from AS Renry, giving guaranteed crits, million already. So she has no Grasta, keep in mind. So not bad. She's out damaging a lot of the enemies, and you can see that obviously AS Renry does about 1.5 million. That is 500k times 3. But with no Grasta, Radias is essentially doing the same. I forgot to mention though, remember that when she in slash zone, for every slash attack used during that turn, at the end of the turn it boosts all slash damage on your team by 15% per character. So if you do 4 slash moves, that's 60% boost. If she comes in, if you've done 3 slash moves, it'll increase your entire party's damage by 45%. Either way, super setup, super crazy, and a lot of damage. Now this is going to be a little bit different, and the reason I'm going to show you this is just in case you want to experiment with some different zones in terms of accumulating a lot more damage. So we're going to do a 3-turn setup as opposed to 2. Now if you're wondering why we're bringing Earth Team, notice that it's guarded. The reason why is we're going to use Miampha's VC, which applies increased critical damage by 50%, and note that I have an increased VC Grass, the upgraded version on her, so now the crit damage is increased for 2 turns. And that allows us to now set up with Radias. And so now we're dealing 50% more critical. Don't forget that AS Renry essentially allows everyone to crit after she does her 2-turn setup, which is very easy to do within the AF. And so we'll see how much damage we can generate even with 2 characters being resisted. So note that Nidaria is being applied. Deidre does increase damage based on pain, and obviously same with Radius, and so we can have some synergy there. Now if the enemy wasn't resistant to anything or weak to anything, you probably have a more good idea of what kind of damage you can deal. But you can see that 1.3, even with that, is, look at that, it's 2.5 million times 3. So that is in combination with obviously with Miampha helping you increase your crit damage by 50%. So note that we canceled one zone with the other, and we gain the benefits of essentially both VCs. And so we're just going to finish off this battle really quickly. 1 hit should do it, being that the boss isn't, as I said, not of the end game variety. And there we go, over 1.1 million, and we're done. So, in conclusion, I would say that Radias is very versatile. Having Slash Zone allows you to really mix up your characters, and like I've said in my should you pull or not, I really do think that some of the most powerful physical DPS characters are either Slash or Fire or both. And even if not, you can use it with Deidre with her manifest weapon, or without, or AS Nagi. There's a few other examples, and so yeah, definitely add her to your team if you can. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.